So we live in a world that is increasingly polarized. We need to have an energy transition, and sometimes we are simply too fast in thinking that we cannot do one thing if we stop doing something else. The reality is that in this event we are talking about how do we have an energy transition, but energy alone will not be sufficient to fight climate change. We know that we need nature and we need people at the same time. As a matter of fact, it is not possible to reduce emissions without healthy ecosystems. And this is all about the two initiatives that were introduced, Ocean, the Offshore Coalition for Energy and Nature, and GINGR. Let me tell you a bit more about it. The Offshore Coalition brings together the wind industry, the TSOs, and environmental and climate NGOs. This group of people have come together because we realized that we cannot deploy the offshore assets that are needed to meet the decarbonization targets without, at the same time, protecting nature. So Ocean is about finding solutions that are good for the deployment of renewables, but also to protect nature. And coastal communities, where a lot of activities, economic activities are taking place. This is not easy, especially because a lot of practices that are being developed are then sold as best practices, but how do you consider something good if you do not measure it? And that's why, in parallel with Ocean, that now has more than 50 members, we also set up GINGR, a global initiative that is led by RGI and IUCN, where the main intention is to develop measurement tools. If we don't measure, it doesn't exist. So the ability to understand what is good for nature, how do I measure it, how do I report it, so that we can monitor progresses that are being made country by country and sector by sector. Our intention is to focus on wind, including offshore wind, electricity grids, and therefore the linear infrastructure, and later on, potentially also solar. It is a collaborative project, and actually, we cannot find the solutions to these massive global challenges unless we work together. So my appeal today is for you all to come and help us to develop the tools and methods to define and measure what is good and how to report it. I think I'm within the 5 minutes. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Antonella. Yes, let's have a round of applause. Thank you so much, Antonella. Okay, so I have a couple of questions for you. You know, right at the end, you talked about come and help us develop the tools. If you had a wish list, okay, what tool would you most like to see from someone here at the BETD or someone watching this online?
So when we talk about sustainability, very often in an event like this, we refer to carbon reduction. But the reality is sustainability is much bigger than that. So we want to develop tools and methods for nature and people positive. Now, the nature positive is a bit easier because we have a lot of tools already available coming from our project partner, IUCN, the International Union for the Conservation of Nature. They are missing in the offshore, but we are really working in developing those. And there is already a strong community. But on the people side, on the people positive side, we are at the beginning of it. Because people positive it's strictly linked to the just transition. But what is a just transition here in Berlin? It's very different somewhere in Ghana or South America. So we need to understand what are the things that are common to everybody that can win the hearts and the minds of citizens and local communities, but also what are the peculiar local drivers that are essential for these communities to progress and thrive in a perfect way. Now, one more thing is that, again, you may think that nature positive and people positive are two separate topics. But when you live in a rural area, especially in developing areas, you know that a lot of the people positive depends on ecosystem services. So a healthy environment is needed for the communities, for the people positive, and a healthy environment is also needed for reducing emissions. So we are living in a complex, all-connected system, and we cannot simplify by doing one thing after the other. We have to do all of it together.
We do have to do all of it together. You know, you said before we need healthy ecosystems, we need nature, and we need people. And I want to, before we open the floor to questions, I want to come back in and talk. You said, you know, what works here doesn't necessarily work somewhere else. But how do you equitably, globally align and standardize something like monitoring and reporting systems across countries, across villages, and across sectors? And if I could ask a second question, sort of time with that, how does international cooperation, that's kind of the theme that we're talking about a bunch today, how does international cooperation support this?
So first of all, it is possible to align monitoring and reporting because we already have international systems for reporting. Monitoring is a bit trickier, but a lot of countries are developing their renewable strategies right now. They are developing their offshore strategies. And so we can agree on fundamental minimum requirements on how to do the monitoring. In Europe, we have developed fantastic cases, Belgium, the Netherlands. I think they have put in place national monitoring schemes that can help others to follow suit. The reporting is linked to the financial markets. The previous speakers was very interesting, basically mentioning the need for international cooperation. I think that it is difficult, but it is possible. So we need to align probably investment banks, development banks, to support a global scheme that is looking at people positive and nature positive. And this brings a de-risking factor into the investments. So many of the tools are still there. We only need to decide that we don't need to compete in you developing your tool, me developing my tool, but rather let's do it together because we can be faster and we can be much more efficient.
Absolutely. Cooperation is certainly key. I do want to see if there's anyone here in attendance today who might have a question for Antonella. That's good, because I have another one. So I want to ask you a little bit. You said, come and help us develop the tools. I already mentioned that. How can people do that? I know that you have a stand here. I know you're also going to have a side event as part of the BETD on March 20th. You're going to call it Rethinking Energy Security, Shifting to a 24/7 Demand-Driven Energy System. Can people come and chat with you there?
They can come and chat me anytime. I'm Italian. I'm very open to chat with everybody. So it's very easy on how to collaborate with us because we have set up, especially GINGR, with a distributed mindset where we have different working groups. We believe in collaboration, therefore we have given leadership of these working groups to different organizations. We don't want to do everything by ourselves. We really want to do it together because doing it together brings legitimacy, brings knowledge sharing and deployment. So if you have a good idea, you want to work with us, just give me a call, we'll do it.
That sounds like a fantastic way to close. If you have a great idea, look up Antonella, give her a call, see her online. Thank you so much for joining me today, Antonella. I wish you all the best and have a fantastic event on the 20th. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
It's really, really great to see you again.